Alex Jones and Roger Stone weighed in on Madison Cawthorn saying that people are having coke or doing coke and having orgies in Washington, D.C. And Alex made a pretty bold claim. Take a look.
He had a super hot wife, too. I mean, what do you think these people are going to do? I mean, this is ridiculous. I've been invited to these things. I haven't gone to them because I don't want to be, whatever, blackmailed, or I'm not into that. I'm, happy. But, I mean, I've been invited not just to those. I've been invited to the really weird stuff, not with kids or anything, but with the whole occultic stuff. So I can tell you, folks, the eyes wide shut things go on as well.
Alex Jones is saying he's been invited in Washington, D.C. to drug and orgy parties. I've never heard a lie more brazen. Alex, I don't know if you know this, you're Alex Jones. Nobody's inviting you to occult, drug, and sex parties. If there was any one person in the world that would never be invited to such a party, it would be Alex Jones. Why? The dude's been lobbing bombs, metaphorically speaking, at D.C. since he started doing his thing in like the 1990s. Now, he was one of the original. George W. Bush did 9/11. He's like a 9/11 truther guy. He was the original 9/11 truther guy. There was a time when it appeared like his show, it was definitely always a conspiracy theory show, but it leaned more left. And then, of course, Trump came along and he cucked himself and he went super far right. Really, the driving force between that animates Alex Jones is like everything's a conspiracy and I'm the only guy here that's telling you the truth. And so, you think the people in D.C. didn't know that about you? There was no time when Alex Jones was like buddy-buddy with Chuck Grassley or some shit. Or hanging out with other D.C. politicians where they're comfortable enough with him to be like, let's do some coke and go have an orgy. By the way, the idea of Alex Jones being engaged in an orgy is terrifying. I do not want to think about that. I do not want to think about that at all. Oh, yeah, that feels good. Oh, that's the spot. That's the spot right there where the Illuminati and the Bilderbergs meet, and they hurt everybody. But, oh, yeah, no, I'm not thinking about that at the moment. I love how I just simulated Alex Jones getting oral. Anyway, I like the degree to which this guy can lie. He's pathological. He's pathological. And not to turn this too serious here, but remember how he very famously said after he got caught speeding, doing the Sandy Hook as a hoax thing, he said in no uncertain terms, like, I never said it was a hoax. I never said it was a conspiracy. And then there was a compilation video of all the times he said exactly that on his show, and it was an endless compilation video. I mean, there were like 15 to 20 different occasions on his show where he said exactly that. This is crisis actors, this is a hoax, this is a conspiracy, it's to take all the guns, etc., etc., etc. So the ease with which he lies is astonishing. It's astounding, and I don't know how some people can't see it. Now, look, I've always been, and many of you guys disagree with me on this, but I've always been, of the position that he shouldn't have been banned from social media. I understand the claim, hey, those specific videos where perhaps there were, doxing or semi-doxings or saying things that led to incitement, among others. If you want to say, hey, those particular videos need to be pulled, I'm open to that conversation, man. I am. Because I'm a free speech absolutist, but that doesn't mean you can do doxing or direct threats of violence or libel or slander. And if it's illegal, it also shouldn't be allowed on social media. So I'm with you on that conversation. But to give him like the internet death penalty on all the big social media outlets as a result of that, I think goes too far. But understand that the guy is a total charlatan and con man and fraud, as is Roger Stone. And so for them to casually be talking about this, for them to act like, oh yeah, I was in those clubs and part of that group. And by the way, where the fuck did the word occult come from there? Been invited to really crazy stuff, some occult stuff. Let me look up the word occult because I forgot the exact definition. Supernatural, mystical, or magical beliefs, practices, or phenomena. So he's been invited to occult orgies? What's a fucking occult orgy? How do you add supernatural stuff and mystical stuff and magical beliefs into an orgy? Like, what do you guys do? What do you set up some like voodoo dolls, and as you're getting nasty with each other, you bring the voodoo dolls into it, or does everybody dress up weird, or are you casting spells as you give handies to everybody? Like, what does that even mean? An occult sex and drug get together. Look, he's big on the whole, you guys know this, he was talking on Rogan's show, talking about intergalactic aliens are real, and you're going to play when you take DMT, you're going to places and you're negotiating and you're making intergalactic contracts with these other alien beings, and these guys are drinking the blood of babies and they're vampires, and honestly, he's almost never met a conspiracy he doesn't love. The one that he has actually sort of shied away from is QAnon, and I think that's because he thought QAnon was sort of stealing his thunder and his lane. And so he wanted to nip it in the bud and be like, they're the frauds, but I'm the real deal. Okay, Alex. Again, if there was ever one person who wouldn't be invited to a DC orgy and drug party, it would be Alex Jones. Because everybody knows Homeboy would be on his show the very next day talking about, Nancy Pelosi likes this put in her orifices and Mitch McConnell likes this sex act. So, oh, man, why are we talking about this? I hate it. I hate it so much. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.